Okay, look. This is going to be another. You know what? You know what I think YouTube has become? You remember in the early 2000s, every TV show that was a reality show had these confessional booths, and then The Office came along and kind of made a scripted version of it where they would have those asides where it'd just be a one-on-one. I honestly think that's what YouTube is now, it's just our collective confessional. It's our collective place where we record our observations and how we feel, and then leave it. So that's again, that's also what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to do today. So hello, dear friend. Hi. Look, this is going to be unpopular, and I don't really care. I'm not someone who pretends to not care about what other people think. I think we all care on some level about what other people think. I mean, we're a social species. The thing that I think is unpopular is we've talked a lot about there's a male crisis, the male suicide epidemic, the male, I don't think you're supposed to say that on YouTube. The male, well, fuck it, I already did. The male, I mean, even that you can't say that word is an issue, you know? And it's not, I don't mean that from like a censorship standpoint. I think it's more of a, you get conditioned. Hi, little foot. My little boy, come in. You can come in. I don't care. Come in. My wife is in here. Do you want to be on the video? I don't want to be on camera. Okay. She's a 6'8" blonde with shoulders as broad as she is tall.
Come on, little foot.
You can be in here. It doesn't matter. Okay. Sorry. You're fine. So look, what's life, right? Do you want to say hi to the world? Come here. Here he is. This is my pride and joy. Yeah, my little bub. So, you want to go all the way up? You're good. You're good. The thing that I really think is an imperative thing to consider is, and what's so wrong is I actually don't think that there is a male crisis, except for you, right? You have a crisis right now. I don't think that there is a male crisis or a suicide epidemic among men. The numbers are there, and there's definitely a massive uptick in suicide among men. I mean, 74% of all suicides every year in America are men. The thing that's interesting to me about that is 50% should be men and 50% should be women. Technically, there shouldn't, in a perfect world, there isn't any at all. We are a family who has been affected by that, so it is a thing that sits in my mind. But I don't think that it's male. I actually think that women are the ones who have a crisis, and the reason I think that is because a crisis to me is a product of an identity crisis. It's a product of not knowing who you are. It's a product of not knowing who you are as a group or as an individual. And femininity, men and women both have femininity and masculinity. Women are predominantly feminine and men are predominantly masculine. They don't have to be that. I mean, we've now here in this trans era, we have I call them cultural men and cultural women, culture men, not trans, because trans was around forever and you don't get to create a movement in the 2020s and suddenly just bogart something that's been around forever since 1955 as far as recorded history is concerned, and it way before that if you're being perfectly honest. You don't get to just create that. This is a new thing, and this is an epidemic. I mean, Abigail Schreier famously wrote about it, in the most empirical data-based research there is on this says that 91% of all transitioners were born female. 91%, right? 91% born female. So clearly there is another factor involved in this. Now, this isn't about transitioning. This isn't about identity. This is about how we treat one another, right? Because somebody here just can't get enough attention. I'm going to put you on the ground now. Yeah, I'm going to put you on the ground instead. Sorry, I know it's distracting, but I'm just doing this for me. This is my confessional. And the reason I see it that way is because women don't know who they are. Men know who they are. There is a crisis of identity in femininity, and there is a crisis of participation in masculinity. It is not okay to be a masculine man in society. We're not curated for that. We're not pushed towards that. You're not supposed to be difficult. You're not supposed to be, you're not supposed to have bravado. I mean, think about man spreading, right? So you're not supposed to accommodate your balls on a train because there might be a feminist in there? Are you kidding me? With the amount of space women take up in the planet? Come on, this is ridiculous. These are just things we're picking on each other for. Women today have become the men of the 50s and 60s. And look, pendulums swing. We had it coming. We deserve it, but it has gone completely overboard. The thing that I think is really essential to point out in all of this is there are some people who can get through life with companionship in the form of friends and your own extended family. And then there are people who need a spouse, men and women who need a spouse. The part of men who need a spouse are the ones who are killing themselves, because women are not showing up as women. They're not showing up as partners. They're showing up as an amalgamation of the feminine and the masculine, who's supposed to run the world, who's supposed to be disagreeable, who's supposed to be a career person, but also supposed to be a mom and a parent and a partner and a wife. That is literally impossible. That is an impossible ask. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have everything that you specifically want. You want to start a company, you want to be this, that, or the other thing, and then also have a family. You can totally do that. Okay? No one here is saying you can't do everything. But to try to take on those things at the same time and pretend that those are right for you is to sabotage society at large. To act like a man, to act masculine in an effort to have a career, is to have an identity crisis. To take an industry and to turn it into something that caters to your natural femininity, that isn't. But the other one is toxic. The thing that I see the most, though, around me is women attempting to behave like their idea of one of the guys, were they in fact that. It's insane to me that we can have a movement like Me Too that was predicated on a lie. Okay, I've been in Hollywood most of my life, or in acting most of my life. Me Too was a lie. 2 people got paid for an article, and Harvey Weinstein was 6 months into the red at the Weinstein Company. They had a clause because Harvey Weinstein is a fucking monster and an animal. No question. But the people who led Me Too were also. Let's not forget that the movement died and became Time's Up, and then Time's Up died because 2 of the 3 women in the leadership council were sleeping with minors at some point in their life, right? Because all of this is human. We are all humans who look for an opportunity. And if you feel like you're being kept out, you're being bogarted, then you leverage the mechanism in society available to you to force people to let you in. And that's what women did in this particular case with respect to Hollywood specifically. And I understand. I get it. Black America did the same thing. I understand. I get it. You were literally kept out. So eventually, in order to get fairness, you have to overdo it. But just like everything, it goes overboard. It goes too far. So now we've ended up in the exact same place. Women are acting like men of the 50s. Black people are acting like white people of the 20s. And none of us are willing to sit back and go, oh, maybe all of these things are just human. Maybe all of us are equally guilty and equally blessed, right? Maybe it was already perfect to begin with. And if we embrace our roles and do our best, then we all move up together. And I'm not saying, hey, women need to shut up and get in the kitchen and black people need to stop complaining. I'm saying, no, do what you're doing. Bring it. Bring all of you. Bring all the sauce. But we as men, particularly, and I'll just say the thing that makes everybody cringe, we straight white men, we need to get in touch with our masculinity because there's a participation crisis in it and it's making women go fucking crazy. Right? It's making them think they have to do everything. And I know a lot of us have also been cast aside. A lot of us have been put in situations that required a strength of character we didn't have at the time. But time has passed now. We're okay. You're okay. You're gonna be okay. But it's time to step up. It's time to insist. It's time to get through that uncomfortable moment where somebody screams some shit at you because society at large needs it. You've got men committing suicide because they don't have a proper person to show up that could potentially be their partner. I am not saying any woman owes any man to be a wife. And I'm not saying any man owes any woman to be a husband. I do not believe that. I don't think that's true. I think arranged marriages are completely screwed up and so outdated, you might as well go put a fridge in a cave. That's not what I'm saying. We do not cultivate a world where we are able to cut our teeth in private and become the people that we want to become, we become a manifestation of who we believe we should become. And that idea is a completely fabricated, toxic version of our organic selves. Consider the fact that there is an idea about how you're supposed to behave, right? There's a way that you're supposed to be a man. There's a way that you're supposed to be a woman. There's a way that you're supposed to. This is actually one of the things that I think is the most racist thing in America. There's an idea of how you're supposed to be black. And if you don't behave that way, you're going to find out. Maybe we all just relax and we recognize that each of us is a divine sentient being and a cosmic coincidence with a unique fingerprint that could truly bring something if we're allowed to just cultivate a life that is in keeping with who we are, as opposed to who everybody else is fussing about who you should be. Most women, they are naturally feminine and want to do things that women do. But if there's not a masculine presence in their life, somebody that's a fixed point, right? The reason my wife and I work is because I'm a fixed point. I put my foot down and it stays down so that she can explore and she can feel her way through the world and she can be curious and she can take risks because she knows at the end of the day she's going to be okay because there are parameters set for the area within which I can help. That doesn't mean she can't go beyond it. It just means she knows, hey, outside of that, I can't help you. And in that same way, when I need something, then she is able to provide emotional enlightenment, a reason, context, some sort of information, clarifying something that I don't understand, helping me navigate anger. All of these different things that we are able to do because we complement each other. But because we come from an era where the dads on TV were idiots and the girls were princesses, we've got a bunch of people who think they're owed a kingdom and a bunch of people who think they can't do anything. And we effectively end up letting each other down. So there is a crisis in femininity because it's gone totally toxic, and there's a crisis in masculinity because we don't participate. And they're fucking related. They're connected to each other. So the next time you want to be a man and bitch about all the women, understand that you had a part in this. And the next time you want to be a woman and bitch about the world and all the men and all the stuff that's happened, understand that you created this. You got what you asked for. We were just all completely fucking wrong. And now there's a disproportionate amount of suicide. I said it again. There is a disproportionate amount of coupling. There was just a survey, 236,000 respondents, voluntary respondents, and it came back and it said 73% of people wished they'd had kids that didn't have them, and 86% of people who had kids were glad they did. America's not talking about having kids. America's talking about making money and being winners. We just saw a World Cup where people came to America and were shocked at how great it was because we don't appreciate the locust that sits on our nation that is the media. The media is why we think these things. The media is why we're at each other's necks. The media is why we are reduced down to these fucking movements, right? The media is why we're a group, an iconoclastic group of just traits, intrinsic traits. I don't want to know you as an Asian woman or a black man or a white girl. I want to know you for who you are. That little thing about character, right? Constitution of who you are. So the crisis is in this media, social media, I think in large part, makes us think that we need to be somebody we're not. We depart from ourselves and then we come back to our life and realize it's hollow when we feel nothing and we don't want to do anything. Because there's no layer to anything. There's no one else there. There's just you fulfilling some cardboard-like avatar idea of what you're supposed to be based on your intrinsic values. Well, this era of woman does this. What if you don't want to do that? What if you just want to be who you are? What if right now you just want to be a mom? What if right now you just want to go and figure out how do you plot a course across Greenland that's accessible for beginners? Who's telling you you can do that? Who's telling you you can't do that? Consider who they are and how much power you give them. The entire world is your adventure. But you have to maintain a sense of responsibility to society. If you are a toxic man who every single day, every time he goes somewhere and he doesn't get his way, he starts imposing his physical will, you're a problem, dude. You're the problem. You just made everybody uncomfortable and you gave them a memory of something they'll carry into the next place. If you're a reckless female who sleeps around, who breaks hearts, I promise you, that shit is going to catch up with you. A woman scorned is a terrible thing. A man hurt is even worse. And that's not okay on either end. But we do this stuff. We perpetuate this stuff. I can't imagine a world where we're not all represented. Well, actually, that's not true because I'm living in it. I see it, right? We've got education for women, we've got culture for Black people, and then we've got purgatory for the whites. That's the way the media is telling you to think. None of those things are true. None of them are true at all. But we're made to think it. Because if we act that way, we're controllable. And the system has given us a fight to tire us out, as opposed to fighting the system that is literally destroying all of us. I have no idea why the fuck this frayed out and turned into so many other things, but I also don't really give a shit because this is just my confessional. And I don't care how many of you judge me, because I judge myself way more. Just kidding, I love you.